Lord have mercy. The Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want.
There's no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. Because at least as a rich man, when I have to face my problems, I show up in the back of a limo wearing a $2,000 suit and a $40,000 gold fucking watch.
You didn't put in on this, man.
Better get a receipt, my brother.
Nominal party to a transaction, one who acts as an agent for another for the purpose of taking title to real property and executing whatever documents and instruments ain't direct respecting the property. So just off that measure, you can see that this is a front that you put out to take title to real property and execute a document or an instrument with. But the principal is the one who's directing it. And the principal would be the natural person directing the person, which is statutory corporation. Person who purchases property for another to conceal the identity of real purchaser. So that's once again an entity like a trust or corporation. These are entities. These are what you call a person. So when you talk about your name, and nom de guerre, and legis, you're just talking about a person. Corporation. So with these corporations, you can register them unincorporated. You can do a lot of things with them. So that's just to kind of back and give some clarification on that. But I yield the floor to you, brother.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, man. That was you're dope. That's well worded, man. I couldn't explain it better myself. I just noticed in Missouri, when I first started coming into this knowledge, they wasn't giving me the floor. Because just like, I know you understand, we don't file things pro se. That the prosecutor's the prosecutor. We do a sui juris because it's a tax issue to write the contract. And we always correct the record. But when I use natural person in the federal courts, I didn't have a lot of luck. They wouldn't even hear me. They kept trying to give me co-counsel. So when I quit using natural person, now this is 2017. When I quit using natural person, and I didn't know what word to use, so I said, let me try living soul, because it has living in it. They accepted all my paperwork, and I had the right to speak. They even switched sides. I was on the other side, the side the prosecution's supposed to be on. So they made me the plaintiff. So I really like that. In the state though, I tried it again. Said, let me see what it does with the state. State and city, it worked for me in Missouri, utilizing the natural person. It just didn't help me in federal jurisdiction. The same way with the so-called affidavit of sovereignty. When I first started, I stayed away from that word. I just put affidavit of truth on it. But to get it, it's considered an affidavit of sovereignty on here somewhere. It might be this right here. Yeah. Just says don't use the social security number, the driver's license. I'll put this in the chat too. But I named the affidavit of truth as well, just like this. And they accepted it in the they accepted it in the federal jurisdiction and like put it on the record. Now a lot of things will be under seal when you're dealing with a federal jurisdiction. But I just looked at it. So we talking about traffic law, nonviolent cases, and then child support. So I'm gonna stick to the script. So sui juris, I would always put that I'm sui juris, never pro se. They were like, are you operating pro se? I would say, for the record, I am operating as sui juris, which is my right to contract, all right? You know, what is a sui juris beneficiary? Sui juris means a person who is in, let's say, not a minor or otherwise. So you're not a minor, because you know they say you're a minority. And in the court system, which we know is a bank, it's all financial now, that gives you a minor account. And they get to create more minor accounts because they get to control the majority of what's going on because you're not competent. I just want y'all to see that it is, like, all crimes are commercial. As we say, 5 years in prison and such fine. Like, it's all commerce. It's all money. It's all dealing with the credit. All governments operate off full faith and credit. The full faith and credit clause addresses the duties that states within the United States have respect to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state. So everything is credit. I don't want to keep confusing y'all. But look, so y'all see this. The Amish, they have their own government authority. That's what Nobel left our people. The same thing that's still going on today with the Amish, because they're still here. I'm from the Midwest, so I seen this a lot growing up. So it wasn't even a question when I started learning these things. Like, yeah, let's go. They got their own IDs, they got their own identifications. You don't know, you don't see it because it's not something they put in the public because it's a private education. So I'm just saying, like, I know most of my people here are melanated. So just ask anybody you know that's locked behind the wall or incarcerated. Is there any Jewish people in there? Is there any Amish people in there? Probably not. But I want y'all to see this, the liability. Sole proprietorships do not have the protection of limited liability. Instead, the sole owner has unlimited liability. This means that the sole owner is personally liable for the debts and expenses of the business if the business is sued, and the sole owner risks losing their personal assets. So when you understand that for a crime, for there have to be a real crime, there has to be an injured party or property damage. If there's no injured party or property damage, this is a civil case, it's not a real crime, and they are suing you. It's trading with the enemy. It's really what it is. Trading with the enemy. It says them versus you. Now, with the reason why the LLC is important, I showed y'all the LLC. I use codes and statutes. I'm not going to go in a state court talking about Black Law's Dictionary. I'm not even going to go in a state court talking about trust because they're trained not to even understand any of those things. I'm going to stick to the codes and the statutes. Whether it's somebody suing you, a debt collector, or whether it's the prosecutor, they don't have, first of all, we'll talk about the oath of office because this is your right. You need to see a delegation order so you can see where their authority derives. Because this is a court of record, right? Well, I can't take your word that you're a lawful judge. I'm gonna need to see proof of this. Can you show me your oath of record? It's a court of record. Same with the prosecutor. These are things I just want y'all to know. You can prove, if your name's an LLC, you can prove that name's a business. And they're trying to administer and take from your assets. This is how I'm looking at it. Like, now you just updated your status. It's that simple with an LLC. That's how I look at it. Now, I need you to know that LLCs are just pass-through entities, so don't get relied just on this LLC. You're still going to have to start learning trust or holding companies and things of these nature. So you just don't keep assets there because then you will create a big, huge tax liability, all right? So I just want to throw that out there. There's still more to it, but these are the beginning steps. Making your name a business. When you hear the name Michael Jordan, when you hear the name Donald Trump, LeBron James, these are businesses. I'm gonna let that sink in. Like, all those are business names. They're operating as a business. When you hear your name is a business. It's being used as a business and always been used as a business, especially if you're in this corporation. Especially if you got a social security number or a birth certificate. Certificate means title of ownership when you look up these things. So I got the screen share on. Certificate is just a title of ownership. A certificate provides documentary evidence of the right of ownership. And I also want to show you, I want to show you another definition. I can't remember which one I want to show. Oh, stock warrant. I want to ask you if you understand your charge. A stock warrant represents the right to purchase a company's stock at a specific price at a specific date. A stock warrant is issued directly by a company to an investor. Somebody had asked, do you have to have insurance to travel on public roads? Does the business have to be a domestic or foreign? Can you go back to what you said about making an MLC and what that makes over your name? You need to start studying business. I ain't gonna get too deep in all of these. Peace and love, peace and love. I don't get too deep in everything, but it's a business. If you don't understand it's a business, because what is a trust? You follow me? And it starts with your creative mind first. So you're gonna have to start, if you're not studying, you're gonna have to learn how to talk to yourself and have that relationship with your higher power. Because a true trust or a true bond in commerce is one with your higher power or higher self. Because if you have a business out here, you're operating off your thoughts, all right? Your mind and your thoughts create your creativity and your actions. So your businesses is whatever's going on in your mind. That's your business. You follow me? I hope that makes sense. So I like, the reason why I like coming into Islam teaching this is because I self-law and master, all right? First of all, so you need to understand you lead yourself every step of the way. So why are you leading yourself to this situation? What is it you're supposed to learn? That's what you got to know first of all, before you can start gaining clarity. But make your name a business and start operating off of that. And then when you start understanding trust, you can, or holding companies, the private trust or the holding company will own or be the beneficiary of your name. That's an LLC. So you're not even the owner. You got a whole nother company or a whole nother trust. You're just coming to, hey, I'm here as an authorized representative. I'm contracting with this business or I'm contracting with this trust to handle these matters. You're like a customer service rep, so to speak. On behalf of, you can't say you're that name, because if you say you're that name, that makes you the sole prop. Now you're held liable, especially if the business messed up. I will get into the traffic stuff too. I'm gonna have to pull up one of my emails. Let me keep going. So we got the Article 3, went over that. So we can go, the abatement is for us, for that too. The abatement process is for traffic. Yes, sir?
I want to backdoor you on that trust.
Oh, go ahead.
Just get some clarification. I know that trust is a real important factor, and I know a lot of people, it's complicated. I'm going to be honest, it took me a couple of years to understand the trust fully, you know, because I came from an understanding, not understanding entities. So I'm going to read out the Our Self-Law book that we share with you guys. And the 102 questionnaire, 86, 87, 88, kind of clarifies the trust for you. Okay, it says, what is a trust? A trust is a fiduciary arrangement that allows a third party or trustee to hold assets on behalf of a beneficiary or beneficiaries. Trust can be arranged in many ways and specify exactly how and when the assets pass to the beneficiaries. 87 says, what is the duty of a trustee? There are three primary duties of a trustee: investment, administration, and distribution. The trustee also has a fiduciary duty to include loyalty, interests of the beneficiary, prudence, managing trust property, and subsidiary and partiality. Okay, so you want to know what is a trust? parking attendant. Parking attendants now is the trustee. You just trusted him with your property. That's your car. And it's for your benefit for protection. So you become beneficiary and you the trustor and grantor of other property. So that's how trust works and that's how contract works. So everything you get into, everywhere you go, is a contract, especially when you're dealing with these courts. As soon as you get issued a court case, that is trust. It's called a constructive trust. There's two types of trust. You got express trust and then you got constructive trust. That means that it's implied by operation of law. That means that when they gave you this all capital name versus the state of Texas or whatever the state is, they constructed a trust against you. And what the brother explained to you is when you start operating on your own private trust, you can control the public trust. But you have to understand trust in full, like you might have to study it, go do some classes, whatever, but you need to understand trust fully.
That's why I take my people to the LLC first. Because if you start learning how to operate your name as the business correctly, then we can go to the next step of the trust. Because now you understand different roles. And all I have to do is change the name of the roles. You follow me? That's why I teach my people about holding companies. You know, a holding company owns no assets. They just hold them. Just like a trust. You know, and things are considered investments. And I see y'all asking a few questions. I'm not going to go deep into how you set up your LLC, what you should label it, what you should do. I'm not going to do that. You know, if you need Brother Antoine to help you, or, you know, I'm not going to solicit my service on here, but I'm not going over that. I charge a lot of money for these things, and I work with celebrities as well. But, because they want to, when you start learning about the public life, and you really start opening your eyes, and you didn't sign a certain contract, you want out of that life. I just want y'all to know that everybody thinks they want fame and all of this. No, you don't. Understanding that it is a trust, though, then you got to understand who's acting as a fiduciary. And I'll bring up the definition of a fiduciary. Because public trustees are fiduciaries for the public trust. They act on behalf of another person or persons, putting their client's interests ahead of their own, with a duty to preserve good faith and trust. Being a fiduciary thus requires being bound both legally and ethically to act in the other's best interest. That's a good definition. So this is only dealing with like trust and money, you know, but most definitely trust. So these are public trustees. When you sign certain agreements, especially IRS documents or Department of Treasury documents, because you see this right here, it says Department of Treasury, Internal Revenue Service. Until you start filling out certain forms on behalf of that name, so you limit that liability. Because if I'm filling out tax forms and my name's not an LLC, it's still operating as a sole prop, guess who's liable if I mess up? So this is why you have to go as an LLC. Even if you go into court, you're operating from the LLC. Like, you really can't mess up unless you say, I'm that name. You know, because it limits your liability. You're just there contracting with that business on behalf of that business. All right? So when I'm with court issues, and it says your straw man name right here, the all caps name. Hey, peace and love.
Are you still screen sharing?
Yeah, can you see it? Oh, it's not. Hold on. Hold on, you right. Let me see. You see it now?
Yeah.
All right. So right here, I don't know what happened. It's like I'm looking at the Form 56 is what I'm looking at. As you see right here in the corner, it says Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service. I need you to know, department, this would be considered, even though it's a form, it's still considered a note. That's what people ain't understanding. It's still considered a note. Aren't you gonna put notes in it? Like that's how I'm looking at it. And that's how I look at everything. So, I mean, you can make your own forms and just stamp Department of Treasury, put an affidavit, a fiduciary relationship. That works too if you choose not to use their forms, all right? That's on some advanced stuff. But as you see right here, and this is in the Word is Bond book, these forms are free from the IRS, Form 56. And when you start understanding trust, I don't want to throw y'all too off, but you're going to be dealing with the Form 56F. It's totally two different forms, and this is for the financial institution. You got to understand trust are banks, just like a court is a bank. So to be honest, you are a bank. You're a private bank and just don't know it because you have the Social Security Trust account. And you administer it every day. That trust is a bank. And that's why you should create an LLC for your name. Limit your liability from that bank. But we put in the judge name. I'm always putting doing business as whatever they're, you know, say I got Judge John Jackson. I'm gonna put John Jackson, his regular name, doing business as, you know, the Marion County Court Judge. Court address. Put other right here, I'll mark them down. And then I'll put the court's information right here. So just this simple form alone, I'm showing that it's a tax issue. I took it from me gifting my credits. Because I'm telling you, they know the law. They know the law. The lifetime gift tax exemption is 11.7 million. So they can take, you can gift up to 11.7 million to them while you in court, in credits. I hope that makes sense without them having to file any taxes or anything. But when you go back to 28 USC 3002, you understand. Subsection 2, which we already went over, but I'm going to show y'all again. If Congress didn't create that court, it's a tax issue. And if you're gifting your credits to them, you can do that up to 11.7 million. But it's not going to be a tax until you assess it. You have to learn to assess this tax. So one form, when I'm filing my paperwork, I send them a blank W-9. When you open up any bank account, just think about it. A personal bank account especially. When you opened up that bank account, you filled out a W-9. And if you didn't, they send it to you in the mail to ask you to fill it out later. Call your bank, ask them, say, did I fill out a W-9? This is making it a tax issue, all right? You're asking for the EIN number, how you operating in commerce out here. And this is the beginning steps to assess that tax. I'm not gonna get too much into 1099 OID, but that stuff's real. W-8 ban as well, you can file this because you're foreign. You're foreign to the United States corporation. We're not saying we're foreign to the United States of America, the Republic. We're foreign to the corporation. 28 U.S.C. 3002, subsection 15A. And you got to know these codes because the codes is what implements the power. The codes is the cheat codes of life. Like, I understand you should know common law. You should know natural law and what's going on. But you still need to understand codes, especially if you're implementing the LLC. But I'm implementing United States codes. When dealing with this, I really don't implement too many state statutes, but sometimes I do because any state means the United States. They get their funding from the United States Federal Corporation. Most of these courts, they convert your notes into securities just like any other debt, and then they get paid off them. The state is your country, just know that. You know, if you're from Florida, you're a Floridian. If you're from Texas, you're a Texan. You can claim that as your nationality if you don't understand how to use the Moroccan way. I like to use the state way. I like to use that because that's their codes and statutes, you know. 8 U.S.C. 1408, nationals but not citizens of the United States at birth. These are where we're getting our power from when we're implementing these codes. A person born in the outlying possession of the United States on or after the date of formal acquisition. You can be nationals but not citizens, all right? And that's pretty much, I don't put my social in here. I just put the birth certificate filing number, maybe an EIN. Send a foreign status affidavit. This is all in the Word is Bond book too. And I gave it to Brother Antoine if he wants to send it to y'all, whatever he wants to do with it. Foreign status affidavit showing you're foreign to the United States. Since it's a tax issue, we're showing that it's a tax issue. We're showing why we're tax exempt. It's that simple. In the same way with jurisdiction, you can get jurisdiction from addresses. That's why we put in care of, or I use virtual addresses. Same way with the zip code. We put the zip code in brackets because that means it's not real. A zip code will get you under the jurisdiction if you utilize a zip code. You just gotta think about it. State your name for the record. That's gonna get you under the jurisdiction. Where do you live? Where are you employed? Things of those natures, you know, so they'll be like, state your name for the record. My mom calls me son, my children call me father. Where do you live? I live in a house. Well, where are you from? I'm from Earth. You know, just things like that. Where do you reside? I reside in the flesh. This letter of rogatory for relief, and I'm telling you, I put this on with traffic cases too. Like, I know it's a lot of paperwork, and you really don't need to do too much with a traffic case, but I still do it. I still file bonds with traffic cases, all of that. A letter of rogatory for relief, and you see it's under the Hague Convention. This is just breaking down the fraud. It's going to show you what they're doing as far as converting these causes and claims into securities. That's what the letter of rogatory for relief is showing, and it's showing exactly what they're doing from each organization. And everything does go to the state's attorney's office, because that's who can give you the general attorney. There's a reason why I call it a general. Like, a term means to turn over, but what is a definition of a general? I never looked this up. General means belonging to or prevailing throughout a... principal legal officer who represents a country or a state in legal proceedings and gives legal advice to the government. So, like, I just want y'all to know, like, this is who you get your rights from, really. Like, they can most definitely, especially in the system, this is who you need to be dealing with after you've done your processes with these lower entities. You send it to them because you get your rights back from the Attorney General's office. Like, you're at war for real, on paper. So that's how you gotta look at it. And you gotta learn how to become friends with the United States. And that's why I like the Moors, man. They got the Moorish flag, then they got the American flag standing side by side. We're friends with the United States. Everything filed in court is securitized without the knowledge or consent of the people and all parties involved. And that's when any debt, I want y'all to see that, number 11. That's when any debt, they're considered, they're turned into asset-backed securities. I want to go over this real quick because this is with debt. The same thing that's happening with these other corporations is happening in court. And that's where they learned it from the court system. An asset-backed security is, I probably should show you mortgage-backed security. It makes more sense. But basically, your loans, you're loaning the government your credit is what's going on, all right? They're going to convert it into a asset. It takes the form of a bond or note. You get a bond when you're in court, correct? They pull these together, they put them together, and these create income-generating assets such as credit cards, home equity loans, student loans, auto loans, and your court case. I'll put it like that. Credit card payments, we won't even say receivables. Credit card payments, home loans, student loans, auto loans, and your court case. Your court case. I'm gonna break this down so you understand what's going on with your business, okay? That you didn't even know you had. I'm gonna break it down with the MBS now. Now the MBS is the mortgage-backed security. I like these definitions better because I can explain it better. So what happens when they securitize them, your court case, it goes to the district courts if it's a state case. Now it's going to say there's two types of let me see, I'm looking for it. I'm on the wrong one. There's two types of mortgage-backed securities is what I'm looking for. And I just want to teach y'all about the pass-through trust. There are two types of mortgage-backed securities. Pass-through, this is the pass-through trust. Pass-throughs are structured, and where'd it go? Pass-throughs are structured as trusts in which mortgage payments are collected and passed through to investors. They typically have stated maturities of 5, 15, or 30 years. The life of a pass-through may be less than the stated maturity depending on the principal payments on the mortgages that make up the pass-through. So, when you get a debt, you're making payment. You got a mortgage, you got a credit card, whatever. You're making payment to that LLC. That LLC is investing it to the trust. Then the trust can send it to to the people that it considers their investors. Because it's not like the LLC is paying the trust. The LLC is just a pass-through entity. They collect it. Say you had a nonprofit organization, and that nonprofit organization owned a house, and you wanted to rent it. Well, I'm going to need an LLC to collect that rent and then donate the money to the nonprofit organization. And I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So that's what's going on with court. That's what I broke down in the letter of rogatory. Breaks down to 1099 OID too, if you know that stuff. But this is showing you everything that's going on. Everybody's not going to understand it at first, but this is breaking down the fraud. You need to understand a fact cannot enter the courtroom. These are facts. They call it, it says, I am the executor of the Social Security Trust. That's what it is. So I would read the letter of rogatory thoroughly. I would read it out loud. Same way with the notice of mistake. And this is kind of like the abatement. This is how I learned the abatement process, because notice of mistake is like the abatement process, where we're going to take responsibility and say, hey, we made a mistake. I'm the sole beneficiary of a public document, and I've been incorrectly identified and accused or suspected. Forgive me. You gotta understand, you have to, if there's a negative avertment on the record, things can't ever rule in your favor. These are the scales of justice, baby. So you gotta keep everything balanced, all right? And correct the record. You know, I can tell the judge, fuck you, Your Honor. Like, I'm gonna hold you in contempt. I apologize, Your Honor. But then I just got rid of the negative avertment. And I hope that makes sense. But with the notice of mistake, we're just apologizing that if we claim to be that name, all right? And then we're asking, as the surety bond or the birth certificate has been deposited in the court, what evidence does the court have that I, this man who is not lawfully entitled to the benefits of birth certificate, have any surety in this matter? When I'm saying surety, because I know a lot of people might not know, when I'm saying surety, Brother Antoine likes to show y'all definitions from Black's Law. I'm going to show y'all common definitions. A surety is traditionally defined as a person or entity who agrees in writing to answer for the debt or default of another. And that's what happens when you're a sole prop. You're surety for that business. Say it again. A surety is traditionally defined as a person or entity who agrees in writing to answer for the debt or default of another. Look, what is a surety bond? The surety bond is like a security deposit, with the party promising to do something as the renter and person they owe obligations to. And this is why you gotta understand the United States has to be a corporation. Because when you decide to contract with them, now you have to work for them. And that's how they're looking at it. And that's why they give you pay, whether it's below minimum wage or not. Like I said, we always demand oath of office. I like Trustee versus Pagliaro. I use this case and I bring up stare decisis too, all right, in case law. So when you understand business and you understand how to fully set up your LLC, who you really want to own your LLC is a charging order protection state. And I don't want to get too deep, but these are the charging order protection states. This is why I'm always in Nevada. And the benefits of having a holding company in Nevada is anytime there's an issue, they are going to use case law or stare decisis to settle disputes. And I don't have to share anything with the IRS. And the reason being is if my holding company in Nevada owns my name, then all these rules imply. Like I get to invoke, not only do I have jurisdiction in the state that I'm in, I can also imply Nevada rules. But I don't want to throw y'all off too much. But Trustee versus Pagliaro basically states a prosecutor can't be a witness and a public trustee. Like which one are they doing? An attorney for the plaintiff cannot admit evidence in the court. He's either an attorney or a witness. Trustee versus Pagliaro. I'll put this in every court issue I have. Child support. Think about it. Why wouldn't you want to use this for child support? An attorney for the plaintiff cannot admit evidence into the court. He's either an attorney or a witness. How can an attorney admit evidence into a court if he's not a witness? You can't play two jackets. It's the same way with public officials. How are you my public trustee and you're the accuser? You can't do both. You can't do both. How the cop gonna pull you over, and especially if there wasn't no emergency, he's gonna pull you over and then be the witness against you? You can't. He's a foreign agent. An attorney for the plaintiff cannot admit evidence in the court. He's either an attorney or a witness. Trustee versus Pagliaro. The same way with this is just how you gotta think about it. If you're fighting, I see people, if you're a defendant in the state of Texas, how is the state of Texas going to represent you, be against you, and be the judge? Because you accept it. That's why. You said you understood. This is just a basic, I put my disputes in there too, 1099s. Power of attorney, like I said, I put living soul. I always utilize living soul, but whatever you feel comfortable with doing, I let them know the names, copyrighted, trademarked, all of that. Because when you prove this, you understand they're a corporation, they keep putting your private name, this all caps name, which is a business, in their publications. They're a corporation. You could pull your name out those publications. You gave them the right to print your name. You didn't take control of it. But this is the power of attorney. Get rid of any attorneys. I do not utilize attorneys whatsoever. Unless you know how to appoint them as co-counsel, make you holder a due course, and then tell them what to do. Director of Affairs. We always demand to dismiss. People are scared to say demand. I just want y'all to see this. Demand means an assertion of a legal right. A demand is a claim which presumes that no doubt exists regarding its legal force and effect. It is a request made with authority. A legal demand is one that is made by a lawful authorized individual and is proper as to form and place. So we file demands, we do not file motions. I'm gonna put that out there again. Same way y'all see everything's labeled as an affidavit or a notice. We don't file motions. When you file a motion, you're asking somebody to move. And then at the end, you're usually praying to another man. We pray that the honorable court agree to this motion. I'm not asking the courts to move. I'm telling the courts what to do because this is my court. Demand to dismiss due to reservation of rights. When you understand the business, all rights reserved. You know, it's all business. And then we're using the deprivation of rights under color of law. 18 USC 242. And then conspiracy against your rights. Notice the reservation of rights. You need to reserve them and retain them at all times as well, especially when you're signing things. You see the sui juris right there. No. And somebody asked if they're getting the templates. Let me just show you really fast. He sends it to you. He sends you the ebook. You see this? I love PDF.com, PDF to Word. You see this? You see this? Word, PDF to Word. You see that? And you select the file. It's that simple. Boom. Now you got your own templates. Convert to Word. Now you got your own templates. You don't have to ask him. You don't have to blow people up. You know what I'm saying? Because time is money. Y'all got to understand that time is valuable. I'm doing my cease and desist. Ending all actions. Because it's a debt. You don't understand. I had to throw that in there. I had to throw the I love PDF in there so y'all can go blowing people up. And look, when you get it, you just copy and paste it. You hear me? Boom, copy, paste it. Whatever you need to do, take your time, you do it, because we busy. I'm telling y'all babies, kids, y'all don't die, y'all multiply. I would never accept the form of a minority, because I promise you, you're the majority. Now, I always let them know, hey, I come in peace. We come in peace. So, you know, there's also something called a peace bond as well. Just let them know I come in peace. I'm friends with the United States. I'm here to aid and reduce the public debt. It's 20-something trillion dollars. I'm here to aid in reducing the public debt. I'm here to help you, Your Honor. Always include your fee schedule. The reason being, how do you get remedy if you're not including how to give you remedy? The courts can't help you if you don't tell them how to help you. How do they come up with their fines? You know, so once you prove that you're a business, because this is corporate America, the police are policy officers. They're here to protect policies. They can't protect your policy if you don't have one, all right? They can't implement your policy if you don't have one. Boom, implied color of law. And then you have to make your own charges. Unlawful lien on motor conveyance. Whatever it may be. Check out the fee schedule and create your own. Failure to honor God-given rights. That's 20 bans right there. I just want y'all to see. Make sure you have a fee schedule. Or how can you get remedy? You're always the secured party creditor. Need you to know that. Make an affidavit stating so. I like to use my state EIN or just a regular EIN. I don't even necessarily. So look, check me out. Now, I hope this makes sense for y'all. It's not going to make sense for everybody. I'm just touching the bases, and I'm trying to dumb things down so you understand it as clear as possible and getting clarity. But clarity comes from the Most High. Remember that. Wisdom comes from the Most High. When utilizing my LLC in the public with court officials or getting out of debt, whatever it may be, I'm using a trust EIN number or a state EIN number. I'm not using an LLC EIN number ever. Just want to throw that out there. I'm not using an LLC EIN number. I'm using an irrevocable trust EIN number or an estate EIN number. Not even using that. I'm letting them know this is a trust that's administering this. Give them their own arrest warrant, and this is going to start. The reason why I do this, and I got this from Patrick Devine, the reason why I like this, create my own warrant, is because this is going after contracts and then the bonds, when you understand the bonds. And at the beginning of this book, I'm breaking down the bonds, and I had got that information from Gene Keaton. That's who helped it make sense for me. I have seen this stuff work. I've got people out of prison. It's got me out of prison. I just talk about my things. My brother in Chicago, he don't care if I shot him out every single day, dog training. He had like 4 or 5 cases, wrecked his car, had cannabis, a lot of different things. They try to take his license, all those things, man. Before trial, he contacted me. We did this process. Everything got dismissed due to COVID. And his license is back. You know, sometimes they make things up, but that's what it is. He still went to court, though. Once I file my paperwork, I don't go to court no more. This is breaking down this letter right here. If so, bonds and securities bearing your name. And then we're asking for the GSA forms again. Releasing the liens on the real property. Because how to make you a surety, they're putting liens against you and your real property. So this letter breaks down exactly what's going on with the liens. Just make sure y'all read this stuff and understand what's going on. Just don't fill it out. Understand what's going on. But this is a letter to release the lien. Right here. So you see your birth certificate number right here. But right here, the government contract number, you could put the social. You could even put the court case number right here. Like Brother Antoine Bay was saying, he said there's express trust and constructive trust. And basically, you're expressing out loud when you're in the courtroom so they can create more constructive trust. But it's all being expressed on the record. And you're telling the government what to do. I need y'all to understand that. You're always telling the government what to do. You're always in control. You're always in power. The government can't move until they hear certain key words from you. And you see, the county recorder's office. This is where we start to file everything. When we start with status correction, everything. I start with the county. Now, if you're in a court case, that's cool. You can file your information for free. It's really a good, if you have a non-violent case, that's the best way to update your status for free. It's just send it to them. Just being honest. Release of personal property from escrow the same way. Everything's filled out the same way. But you see right here, account number, they put the case number right here. I don't think that one has it. Yeah. They put the case number right here. They did put the social right here. And the same thing with these. These are considered GSA bonds. If you don't know what you're doing, leave them alone. I'm talking about this works for child support. This works for everything. All these things I'm going over works for everything. But I'm still going to touch the traffic and then child support real quick. But these are all the forms. I will use all of these. Consent of surety. That's a standard form 1414. And you see they're already filled out with somebody's info. 1416, standard form 1416. These are all the bonds. These are the bonds that they're going to fill out on you. That you give them permission. When the court case is closed, this is what they're filling out and sending to the district courts. GSA form 1418. All you gotta do is read a letter of rogatory. Well, I give you all cover letters. All the cover letters are with this. Standard form 24, standard form 25, 25A, standard form 28, that's the individual surety. Standard form 30, and you can get this paperback book on Amazon. It's called Where's Mine? So I just want to go over that and then go through abatement real quick. And that's basically the same way I use this for traffic cases. You really want to send the ticket in ASAP. You want to send the ticket in like 3 days. You got like 3 days. You need to sign it, put accept for value. But this is just bringing down abatement. It's the same way. Certificate of a service. Yeah, it's basically I mean, you know. Talking about jurisdiction. Listen, in order for the court to have subject matter jurisdiction, the police officer who has issued and served the appearance traffic ticket must, on or before the return date, file with the criminal court a misdemeanor complaint, a simplified information or information charging a person named in the appearance ticket with the offense specified therein. And you just, with this abatement is basically like a notice of mistake. Like, hey, we apologize. Yeah, The Power of Abatement's on Amazon. He asked if it's on Amazon. I did send this book to Antoine Bay too, so you know, just send him a donation or whatever if he sent it to you. I sent him The Power of Abatement and Word is Bond. This one's 204 pages. And you know, it's basically what I just went over. It's just in different wording, a different format, and it might make sense to you. All right. But when I get to court a traffic ticket, I send things right away. All right. I send stuff right away. Notice a mistake. Reserve your rights. Demand to dismiss. All those what I just went over, man. Do the fiduciary form. Send it to the if it's a city case and you get your paperwork filed, or a state case, always send it to the district courts ahead of time. Yeah, I was trying to put it in the chat, man. It won't let me. He said he don't want to send it to everybody. It's not letting me send files in the chat. I was trying to send it to you everybody in the chat. But he said a Google Drive link. I can do a Google Drive real quick. I can upload it real quick. But I sent everything to the district courts, and then the real courts is the IRS. Remember that. The real courts is the IRS. So make sure you learn how to do the 1099 OID process. That's what's next. I'm going to touch child support really fast, too, and then we can take some questions. I don't even know how long we've been on here. Let me see what he's saying. With Trinity versus Pagliaro, if you didn't hurt nobody, you ain't got no property, you gotta learn how to implement that. He says, so we need to send it within 3 days. I believe you should send it within 3 days, soon as possible. But there's really no time frame on it. But 3 days, you'll definitely take care of it. You know, we file everything non-pro-tunc anyways. Non-pro-tunc means now for then like you filed it already on time. I'm gonna go back to the Missouri too. Let me know if you got any questions before I touch the child support. If you can type it in the chat. And there's more ways to get out of child support too. And I got a book on that too, but I don't have it with me. I don't have that PDF. So, this is one of my older son's names, and you see business, this is a fictitious name or a DBA. You see who the owner is. You see who signs. Jeffrey McBride Jr., LLC. That's the owner. The name to be registered is Tarion Marquise McBride. A parent is a parent who rents. Child or children is property of a corporation. So you gotta understand how to operate like that. You're the father, and that's your son or that's your daughter. They're reclassifying statuses. All right? So understand, this is the parent corporation and this is the child corporation. And that's how I deal with child support. With anything, I'm demand for dismissed, I own the businesses type stuff, you know. I'll show you a child support case. It's in my book though. Find it. Let me spell my name wrong sometime. Boom. Right here, affidavit of termination of child support. Affidavit that once you're able to prove, you gotta understand the mother has already signed her rights up to the state. If child support is coming after you, the mother has already signed the rights up. And if you're the mother about to be on child support, the father already signed his rights up. So when you learn how to update your status correctly, show your names of business, you own the businesses, you control the business, fill your affidavit of termination of child support. Like I said, we never file motions. Why would I file a motion to terminate child support? Judge, would you please terminate this child support? No. Terminate this child support that y'all keep enforcing. Y'all see how long ago this was? I've been doing, this is 2015. This is how long I've been doing this, 2015. Affidavit, they have to agree. They can't, when a fact enters the courtroom, that's just what it is. They can't go against it. But because a fact is not supposed to enter the courtroom. It's all about assumptions or presumptions. He appears to be, she appears to be. You know, they say that's the child or the children. They never say it's the son. They never say it's the daughter. They never call you the father. They call you the custodial parent or the non-custodial parent. A parent is a parent who rents, and you're renting that property from the state. As soon as you're born, you're converted to property. You know, and I'm using the same documents, except I'm proving that this is a TANF. I'm proving that this is a grant. Child support is a TANF grant. And grants do not have to be repaid. I think I include, like, I think it's a form 990. Let me see. I don't want to tell y'all the right forms. No, it's not the No, I don't want to quote you wrong, but that would work too, a Form 990. But, you know, we need to see the returns that you're getting with our business. When you understand everything's a tax issue, you have the right to see the books. You know, it ain't no motion of discovery. I need to see the accounting. I need to see the books, the 1099 OID, who's the recipient of the funds, because everything's a tax issue. You're here to reduce and the aiding of the public debt. So you need the proper accounting information so you can update it with the U.S. Treasury and the IRS. That's how you talk. That's how I talk to them. With that, hey, y'all have any questions? I went on long enough. Y'all have any questions? Make sure y'all drop Antoine Bay a donation too. Y'all found this information valuable. Y'all can unmute y'all, whatever y'all want to do, however you want to do it, Antoine. Let me know if anything I went over did not make sense. Let me know so I can help it make sense with you. See, I sent the Google Drive links if you need the actual PDFs. Antoine Bay has them. You want to schedule a consultation with me? Talk to Antoine Bay. As always, there's more ways to skin a cat. You gotta stick to what you know, and once you start gaining clarity in certain situations. What brought me clarity was just knowing my name was a business. There's a way you can put them in the question too, Antoine. You can make it where they can, put them in a queue if they want to ask questions. I can't hear nothing. I believe he recorded it.
With the original birth certificate was under my maiden name.
So, if you understand trust, if you understand, it's okay, it's all good. If you understand trust, anyways, I'm not a licensed attorney, tax expert, like he stated. We're doing this for educational purposes only. First of all, you should have a private trust already, a private irrevocable trust. If you understand trust, without an EIN. Now, when you understand how to set up trust, you can get businesses and EINs without even attaching your social if that's the route you want to go. But I'm telling you, if you understand we're operating on full faith and credit, why wouldn't you want to access the credit that's already due to the people? So, when setting up my kids' names, it is set up Jeffrey McBride Jr. LLC owns my kids' names. You follow me? And the kids' names either set up as a fictitious name or doing business as name. And if you understand trust, you don't have to file anything to operate a DBA. You seen any paperwork showing that Malcolm Little changed his name to Malcolm X? Or El Malik Shabazz, you follow me? So when you understand the law, you can just go. And all you gotta do is just kind of study Mos Def, if you know who Mos Def is. But I shouldn't even be talking about it too much.
But you mentioned Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada's a charging order protection state. That's where my holding company is set up. A few of my holding companies is set up in Nevada. A lot of my high-profile clients, their holding companies is set up in Nevada because a holding company can't own anything. They can only hold for whoever their client is. You follow me? And it's for the benefit of their client. And things are considered investments with holding companies, the same way with a trust. So when you learn holding companies, that will help you learn trust. That's how I look at it. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
Well, I'm still learning, so I got to go back and read the notes and everything. But I think you kind of explain things in layman's terms, so I definitely appreciate that. Because we're seeing definitely a lot of things on Instagram and learning. As a people, we are learning more than we knew. But sometimes people are not breaking it down to logic like how you are to me. So I definitely.
I'm gonna show you really, really fast because I don't want to get people caught up. The benefits of a Nevada LLC. I just want y'all to see this, because especially when you understand your name as a business. United States, to me, is a holding company, okay? They're a holding company. They hold property, and they claim everything as their property. So when you learn how to create a holding company, you just claim everything as your property. You know, you got a loan, you want to have a loan with anybody, the first loan you have with anybody should be your holding company. And the reason why we set up LLCs in Nevada, because you see there's no state income, corporate, or franchise taxes, privacy protection for owners choosing to be anonymous. So if I'm choosing to be anonymous, who can you tax? I don't even have to share anything with the IRS. And then we're using case law. There's no taxes on profits. You're protected from liability. So that's what I'm saying. If I have a holding company or any type of, even if I have my name as an LLC in Nevada, you could do that. But the thing is, you won't be able to implement jurisdiction if you don't live in Nevada. That's why this holding company has to own your LLC, whatever. So the holding company would be like the parent, and then you would be the child, so to speak, and how I was doing it. And you could do the same thing with your kids. You don't even have to be the actual owner. You can have your holding company come in. Whatever makes sense to you. I don't want to get y'all too far off, but look into charging order protection states, and one of them is Nevada, and it just protects you from liability when dealing with, especially debt. When you understand that even so-called criminal crimes are debt, you're going to start learning from the business aspect.
Thank you. And if I could squeeze the another question, not another question, but when you mentioned the fees, you said like you broke down all the fees that you was going to charge.
Yeah, and like before I even go to court, I'm gonna tell them, if you want me to come, I'm gonna need a $20,000 appearance fee. If I come to your city, I'm gonna charge you $10,000. But if you're a public official, I'm gonna charge you $20,000. You know, I don't discriminate. I'm friends with the United States. I just charge them a little bit more.
So I think we all trying to get to that point where we feel confident and bold enough to do that.
Yeah, who I mean, think about it. How do they get their power? Like, do you know, if you study real history, because for a tree to grow strong, it has to have strong roots. You agree? So with the history that you know, which religious book or public educational book said that the government was for the people? I'll wait. So they didn't even lie to you. They told you they took your land. In order to give it back, they had to create a game, right? So it's just all about learning the game. You're scared to learn the game because you don't understand that prosperity is your birthright. They took the stuff from you anyways. It's yours. Correct?
Absolutely.
All right, because you knew you was royalty, right? You knew you was royalty, right? I mean, I don't know. They didn't teach you that in school, I'm sure. But you knew that, right?
We know that. We know that.
So there's a reason why they start your history with slavery. But they still told you they took your land and made you slaves. So they had to create a game to give it back. And the so-called slave story to me was part of that game, making you scared to believe in yourself.
That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don, is this being recorded? Do you know?
I believe he's recording it, yes.
Yes, this is being recorded. As long as it is. And I will be posting this recording on my on the YouTube page so everybody, because this is over 40, 50 people. I'm not going to be able to send this link to each and every last person. But what I'll do is I'll post it on my YouTube. That will be Nobel Antoine Day on YouTube.
Right.
And that'll be up about should be up about tomorrow. And it takes some time to download.
Yes, sir, it sure does. Trust me, I know.
And he put the link to the book. The link to the book is in the chat. If you download the link, you can get that. I mean, if you download the app, you can get the link.
I'm about to
to the books that
you can see my page.
I got it.
That's your YouTube right there?
Yup.
Alright.
Yup. Nobel Antoine Bay at YouTube.
Doing the writing on the third page.
Let me see if I can grab the other link.
Yeah, the link is in the chat.
Oh, I sent it twice. Hold on.
Put the book link.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It didn't copy.
Okay. And honestly, Dr. Long, brother sharing some knowledge, man. A lot of processes and procedures that you pay thousands and thousands of dollars for and have to study hours and hours to understand. This brother breaking it down within a short period of time we had. Like you gotta love that.
Yeah, that's why you're going to have to go back and listen to it over and over until it clicks. But I'm telling you, the main things, the reason why I even did this is because, first of all, I watch you and see what you do, and you've been a supporter of me, you know, and you see everybody talking this and talking that. Only real recognizes real, and only people that recognize me is the people that study. I'm just going to put it like that. And I'm grateful that the right people discovered me. So, like, it's the Moors who brought me into this knowledge. It's the Moors who made it make sense for me. It's the Moors who took it was the old head Moors, so let's put that out there. They was older. I just want y'all to know that. But, you know, they taught me about everything, about our people. You know, I learned numerology from growth and development, you know, which started from Moors. And people think that these organizations are bad when they was really came here to uplift our people and enlighten our people, and then, you know, everything gets distorted and infiltrated over time. That's great for our people. But the Moors took their time with me, so I always got to take my time with Moors. You know, I don't do labels or anything. I just believe in truth. I believe the melanated being over here is most definitely the, you know, I'm saying we all children of the Most High, but the melanated one, why is life set up so where it's harder to be melanated over here in America? So you got to learn how to count that as a blessing, because it's no pain, no gain. And when you learn how to overcome the oppression, you will rise, because prosperity is your birthright. When you start understanding, like, this, we think we have an oppressor, but we really don't, because the power is always yours. You know, who else is jumping over cars, putting balls through hoops? I mean, just think about those things, man. Who defies certain feats? Like, the reason why I'm in hip hop right now, higher infinite power, healing our people, hip hop influences and controls the world. So with that being said, you just got to know who you are. And when you start to discover who you are, the answers will begin to come when you realize how great you are. It's really that simple. That they say they don't want God to know who he is. You know, they distort the image of the Most High. And that's why when you turn on the TV, you're not liking yourself. You follow me? Because that's their job. Their job is to stray you away from who you are and to stray you away from your source and your creator. And that's how I look at it.
That's the holy breath. That's the truth. And just to camelback off you, when I first came into this knowledge about 4 or 5 years ago, I ran across you. I was learning from Trustee Bay.
Okay.
I was attending the temple. I was listening to the internet, and I ran across you. You was one of the only people I seen prove and show the things I was studying. So I always followed your journey. I invested with you a couple times on some consultations and bought some documents and things, and everything worked out fine. So a lot of people do slander you. They slander me just for having this course. Okay, but at the end of the day, I know from study who is real and who ain't in this movement, and who is actually trying to execute and help the people. You know, so all honest to you, brother, because they slander Nobel Drew Ali the same way.
I bet.
You know, and they don't slander me, and I'm prepared for them. I hope they know. I hope they know that I'm ready.
You know,
I'm secure.
not to stray away from what's being said in the lecture, but I want to throw this out here too. So when I came across, you know, I'm thinking this is incarcerated like most people. And when I came across the Moors, and I'm thinking it's really on gang time type of time, really. And then they're telling me certain things about Nobel Drew Ali. So I just want you to know, in my mind, I kind of slandered Nobel Drew Ali too. Just know that. But when I decided to talk to Nobel Drew Ali, or Marcus Garvey, or even Malcolm X, answers really started to show up in my life. Do you hear me? So that's when I started to believe in ancestors. Your ancestors pave a way for you. And if certain names and events didn't even come across your vision, you know, you wouldn't even see it because you only recognize what's supposed to be going on in your life. You know what I'm saying? So I just want you to know that, man, it's okay to talk to your ancestors. And if you don't think you know who your ancestors is, start looking for ones that have done great feats or made great movements out there, that the ones they try to hide and won't talk about in school. Because they talk about Martin Luther King. You know, they even talk about, you even hear about Elijah Muhammad out here. But you don't hardly ever hear about Nobel Drew Ali. So why is that? And I really started to learn and started to see that all these sects that came from Nobel Drew Ali. The Moors was here before Nobel Drew Ali, so let's not get that twisted. But Nobel Drew Ali was one of the last that put it in a way that makes sense for us, and he did it by actions, not words, so to speak. He applied more actions. The first thing, when I first went to the temple and started seeing how service was held, so to speak, I'm like, bro, this is like a city council meeting. But none of our people been to city council meetings. You know, they haven't seen those things. And when you start understanding how the temples was ran, you'll see that's how courts are ran as well, in a similar fashion. So these were just self-study notes that I started taking, you know, when I started talking to Nobel Drew Ali in my own private time. And if people think I'm crazy about that, they're quick to pray to a painting. And that's all I'm going to say, or a cross. So it's okay if I talk to my ancestors. And that's how I look at it.
Indeed. Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. I'm with you. I appreciate you.
Yep.
Now, just the back door off the conversation, we went over the color of law today. The brother went into procedures on how to deal with traffic tickets, nonviolent cases, and all types of criminal cases. Matters and debt matters as well. Like, there's no limit to what you can use these for. I'm gonna read just a couple case laws which is res judicata already decided that you can build confidence off of, the knowing that this has already been ruled against. It's plenty of people that went to court and won on the same basis that we fighting on today and we teaching you on today. Okay, so all you have to do is go into the case law and find. So I'm gonna read to you section chapter 6 of the book Right to Self-Law, and it's Right to Travel, page 53. If you don't have this, I shared this with everybody when I was sharing the link. Okay, number 1 says traffic infractions are not a crime. That's People versus Battle, followed by citation. So a lot of people think, oh, traffic infractions is a crime. It's not a crime. So when they pull you over, it's supposed to be a crime committed. When you get first pulled over, you've been violating your rights. Because according to their constitution, due process of law, they're supposed to have an affidavit and warrant, search warrant, and arrest warrant to pull you over. Okay, so know that traffic infraction is not a crime, so they can't say or I have probable cause because I witnessed a crime being committed based off of speeding. That's invalid. Okay. Number 2 says the right to travel, the right to the mode of conveyance, the right to locomotion are all absolute rights, and the police cannot make void the exercise of rights. Okay, so case law has already been decided in State versus Armstead that you have the right to travel. You don't have to have a driver's license. The license means that you don't have a right. That's a privilege given to you. It can be taken away and voided. It can be restricted. Okay, so you have a right to travel without a driver's license, according to that case law. Okay, I'm gonna go into one or two more, and I'm gonna go through all of them. Number 10 says speeding, driving without a license, wrong plates or no plates, no registration, no tags, etc. have been held to be non-arrestable offenses. That's Cal versus Farley. Okay, one more. 17 says, there being no such license as a driver's license known to our law, it follows that the information in charging the driver of a motor vehicle upon the highway without such license charges no offense. And that's W. Lee House versus the state. Okay, so anytime you feeling uncomfortable about anything we taught in the video, go back and look up the case laws. Look at what's already been decided.
Can you repeat that last case law? W what?
That's in the book that I shared with you. That'll be number 17 in the chapter titled Right to Travel. And the case law to that is W. Lee House versus the state.
Y'all good? Y'all still there? I hooked y'all up. I can't hear. I don't know if he's still talking. I hooked y'all up. Y'all need the PDFs for real. Y'all can holler at Antoine Bay. All my books are on Amazon too, but I gave y'all the Word is Bond, the Power of Abatement. There is some child support documents as well. No, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna sign back out and sign back in again. My bad.
There are 30 participants in the conference. Muted. The recording has started.
Kilam, are you back in? Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now. Yes, sir.
Okay. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
We just gonna open up for last questions. Limit to one question. Brother gave us his time. We've been on here for 2 hours. And the brother came early. He didn't even come late. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, you're not gonna find that type of dedication. So,
I just want you to know I respect you, Brother Antoine, man. I respect you. I respect what you do. I respect your demonstration, man. And you always been supportive of me.
indeed,
I ain't got no choice.
indeed. Hey, I know you out here putting in that work and lead by example, brother.
I'm done. I'm about to quit the public. I'm gonna help people just like you.
Hey, that's how you gotta do. You gotta lead leaders.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But I did that Google Drive link, man. I did put some stuff in there about child support, because I know we didn't go deep in everything, but child support docs. Somebody asked about how to help the eviction. If they have eviction, I went ahead and put that book in. You know, I started. It's called Open House. And then my traffic books, The Right to Travel. You know, a lot of this stuff I got from RV Bay right here. Some of the travel laws you were just talking about. You know, but there it is, and there you have it. You know, do some study. Just stop talking, start traveling. Just show you how to make your car even private. And the way I utilize it, you know, there's something different for everybody, but. You find the information valuable, you already know what to do. You know, you drop a donation to Antoine Bay. And if you need a PDFs, you know, holla at Antoine Bay if you need anything. And then y'all just go through him and we can set something up.
Indeed. And for everybody that's already members of the temple, drop in the group chat, in the Telegram chat, the link. If you're not in if you're in the app right now, you should be able to get the link right now with the brother describing for the Google Drive. And that contains all the documents that the brother is describing right now. And I'm looking at it. You don't want to miss this. This is great documents like child support docs, rent and mortgages, traffic book. Then he put the PDFs with it. So. Definitely jump on that. If you want to hear more about joining Moorish Temple of America Body Politic, everybody has my chat line, the business chat line. So that's the Google voicemail line. So you can just text me on there. Any way you want to reach out to me. Anybody has any questions for the brother before we let him go? Let me know. Go ahead, be open the floor for any questions. Might be your last time to get this for free, so limit to one question though. Definitely take advantage. If not,
Wait. I have a question.
fast.
Okay, so you mentioned you was talking about the questions when they asked you, like, what's your name? Where do you reside? You were saying I'm a living soul, I live on earth. Like, can you repeat those and say those?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a school of thought, man. Like, you got to learn how to, first of all, if you don't know how to answer a question, you need to learn how to answer that question with a question, because the so-called secure party or the master always answers the questions. And you need to come into the school of thought that, hey, they're public servants and you're the public, so they serve you. You follow me?
Right.
But they're trying to get you on the, like Brother Antoine brought up jurisdiction. And I want you to know, they do have a jurisdiction. It just doesn't apply to your subject matter when you know who you are. So when they ask you, state your name for the record, what's your name? Well, my mom calls me son, my children call me father. Because you got to understand, they go off assumptions and presumptions. You appear to be black on or about this day, you know, so that's why you got to stick to the facts. If it's 2022, but a man decided that, because the earth's billions of years old, so you got to stick to the facts, and the facts can't enter the courtroom. So state your name for the record. My mom calls me son, my children call me father. Where do you reside? I reside in my body. Well, where do you live? I live in a house. You know, well, where are you from? I'm from Earth. Things like that. You follow me? I don't allow them to take my picture. That's against my religion. You're trying to capture my spiritual essence now? For what? For your demonic deeds? And that's how I talk, because they're creating deeds off your estate. You follow me? So you just learn how to stick to the facts. I mean, it's not some stuff you're going to find on Google, but you know, it's just things that I came up with just being around certain individuals that's been tried and true and done these things. You know, and most of the people that got the knowledge and people that had the knowledge that I seen was still scared to implement it. As soon as they seen that man in that robe, they would lack confidence, you know. If somebody's playing with your life, and because time is the most valuable asset, you just need to learn how to take control. If you didn't hurt nobody, there's no reason why you should be fearing anything. That's how I look at it.
That's the
She's
truth.
soaking it all in.
I just shared in the chat a link to the Instagram video of me getting pulled over. And what the brother describing is the legalese that you should know. When they ask you certain questions, these are artificial terms. When they ask you what's your address or where you live, your residence, that's an artificial term. That's not something a human being can do or living soul can do. You live in your body because once you have the science of self, you know that the body is just a vessel. Mm-hmm. You know that you are inside the body. You are not the body.
It's another mode of conveyance. The flesh is another mode of conveyance.
And I got proof of that. If you go to that Instagram and you look at that video, that police had me pulled over. He asked me the same exact questions, and it's proof that you can answer that and be let go.
Yeah, did you see where they pulled me over for the because you know I got the nationalitytravels.com. I had the Choctaw plates, Choctaw identification. But they still try to write me driving without a license, but they didn't take the car. The car's unregistered. I keep the MSO. I keep all those documents that's in the book that I shared for the cars in the Google Drive link. Stop talking, start traveling.
That on your YouTube.
Yeah. So I utilize that, but now I'm doing international foreign driver's license, so they can't even write you tickets for that no more because the Moors been demonstrating in Chicago with their own jurisdictional driver's license, and the courts are not going against it. They upheld that it's a lawful driver's license, and it's issued by your organization. You follow me?
That's all it has to be backed by government. That's it.
That's it. And you're your own government when you learn how to implement that's when the trust comes into play. When you learn about trust, you know. What the Moors, we have the Zodiac Constitution. You know, I started studying that. I'm like, that's deep if you understand it. You follow me? It's just having your own. A constitution is an express trust, like you said earlier. So just learning how to express your body of government and the rules that govern you.
And that's exactly what Nobel Ali did with the 101 questionnaire. You look on the back of his affidavit. In pursuing of the Heard-Smith Act, when you read the Heard-Smith Act, the Religious Corporation Act, it's a trust. The sheiks is nothing more but trustees. And that's according to the Heard Smith Religious Corporation Act.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm going to tell you, my journeys didn't start in the temple. I studied law outside the temple, but when I dove into what Nobel Llc did,
Oh, no doubt.
it's not being taught the way I'm going to teach it.
Right, and the same way with me. I came in learning Missouri codes and statutes. Because, I'm 17, got $56 worth of damage to a car. They give me a Class C felony. I'm looking at, they try to tell me 21 years, but they gave me a 7 for $56 worth of damage to a motor vehicle. That's mine. You follow me? So I'm trying to figure this out. How come? And that's when he was like, you're not black. They reclassified me as black. And a lot of different things, Then he taught me to learn my Constitution. I thought I knew my Constitution. So when I just started doing what Nobel Llc said, it got me far. You see where I'm at.
I remember you told me that a long time. This is not your first time telling me that. You told me that when I first talked to you years ago, bro. And that's what kind of got me to study Nobel Llc even harder, because I was already saying I was a Moor, but I didn't know about Nobel Llc. And after that consultation I had with you for about an hour, you put some heavy spiritual things on my brain. I thought I was just coming in about some paperwork. I wasn't even in the spiritual side back then, but now I am.
But I self-law master. When you learn that man can't control you, natural laws control you and govern you. It took me a minute to understand that too, because they're like, the Constitution is the organic law of the land. Like, what does that mean? What are you talking about? But when you start learning that, some people call it universal law or whatever. I like to call it natural law. Who's controlling natural law? Who's controlling the sun? Who's controlling the moon? Because Nobel Llc had the moon in his left hand and the sun in his right. You feel me? That's how I'm looking at it. So when you learn that, how to go with the flow of nature instead of against nature, your life will become good. If something bad happens in your life, it's a lesson to be learned.
It's nothing bad, only negative and positive.
That's it. Courage is coursing your rage. That's it. So learn how to be courageous. Because when you're in a negative state of mind, if you're in a state of lack, that's all you're going to get in life. So when you're going to see this judge and you're already in a negative state of mind and in a state of lack, you think something's going to be taken from you, that's exactly what's going to happen. Because whatever you show love is going to show you love back. Because I self-law and master. That's how I look at it, man. And you got to hold yourself accountable. And like you told them, you have to read this. And most of our people won't read. And if you're not reading, you need to apply it. You don't always have to read, but at least try to apply it. And don't be scared, because if you're not going to read, then you're going to have to apply it to start to learn and do self-discovery off these situations.
Hey, y'all, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
If somebody's sentenced already, can you get them out?
What they sent, is it violent or non-violent?
I think it's vehicle homicide.
See, I wouldn't touch it.
Like somebody in the car got killed.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it. Me personally, I wouldn't even try to assist them with the crime like that.
Not to associate with it, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't, because you gotta understand. I look at everything as energy. I don't need that energy attached to me.
Right.
I believe everything happens for a reason. So they got to figure out why they led themselves to that. You know who Aesop is? Aesop's Fables? There's a moral to every story. Once he figure out the wisdom and the moral, he can bypass his karma.
Right.
You follow me?
And get some type of peace or something.
Yeah. So all you're going to have to do is, going to have to do some deep soul searching and get that and visualize in his mind. It's just something he going to have to figure out, a life lesson.
Right.
But I help out with nonviolence, and that's still part of your karma. I still got to take that on and then go ground out in nature. You feel me? I don't know if that makes sense to y'all, but a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah.
You reap what you sow.
Yes, no doubt. But I do help a lot of people, and most people I help get out of incarceration. I'm gonna shout out to Joshua Bay too, because he's one person that I work with. He works with ISF Law and Master, but that he's helped get people from out of incarceration. But with this bond process that we utilize, but most time is you gotta understand. I help people make your name a business, because if Walgreens is selling crack cocaine, and I'm not telling my people to go out there and sell crack cocaine, but if crack cocaine was on the shelves at Walgreens, nobody's going to jail because Walgreens has their business established correctly and they're not black. You follow me?
Right. Yeah.
So if your name's a business and that's not you, and the business is selling crack cocaine and it gets in trouble, then you got 30 days to cease and desist before the next step. You follow me? I hope that makes sense. You just got to learn how to limit your liability. So I help a lot of people get out of certain situations, and just put it like that, because they really didn't hurt nobody. There's no victim. The only victim is the state, you know? And the reason why I bring up things like crack cocaine or heroin and things like that, because how does a melanated being that's never left his state get something from a whole nother country? So you got to understand the game. And that's why I help my people in those situations like that, because it's a game that's set up against them. And I'm just trying to get them to see themselves as businessmen or whatever they want to do, so they can change their life around and do something different. That's the importance of why your name should be a business. Walgreens can't go to jail for selling bad drugs. I can't answer it.
See somebody put in the chat, the Caribbeans are Americans, it's just land taken through treaty.
That's facts. This is all America, from the top to the bottom, from North America to South America. It's all America.
It's all America.
Yeah, which
It's the name they gave.
yeah, it's all America. It's all America.
And just to come back off that, it wasn't taken through treaty. There's no treaties you can read that ever gave them any land. It was colonized.
It's facts. The same way with Hawaii. Hawaii is a kingdom and still belongs to the Hawaiian kingdom. If you learn your status correction, because I went to Hawaii, I dealt with some people that got royal blood, and they know the royal blood and can still be traced. And this just happened in the 1800s. They had a queen, and these men got together, created an organization, and they took over Hawaii and had the queen locked in a room because they didn't have no defense. And then they had some contacts in the United States and had some United States soldiers come there, which was a war crime. So they gave it back, but they kept the commerce. So they call it the state of Hawaii, but it's still...
They keep the public side.
That's it.
Control the property.
The same way with...
You see, if you've guys been following, Queen Elizabeth was removed from her office from the Queen of Barbados.
Like,
So that was,
my bad.
so that was from the islands.
That's deep. That's deep. Yeah, the United States, like, people think the land, no bank can own land in the United States. You know, it's property. You own property, because if you learn how to make the land private, the government won't even step foot on it.
Somebody put which edition of Black's Law Dictionary should we use? I personally use 4th, 5th, and 6th editions.
I use the 6th a lot as well.
I don't limit myself just to Black's Law. You want to get Borbier's, I get Barron's Law Dictionary, and then you want to get Norris Webster's 1828 Dictionary, and then you want to go as far as you can get a Metaphysical Bible Dictionary.
There you go.
You want to have your dictionary game on point.
If you know how to use the Bible, you can just read the Bible, to be honest with you, to get you out of any court case, because the Bible's a fact in a courtroom. And I didn't bring this up earlier, but that's the reason why I became an ordained minister, because when I was in the case laws, I seen that the court had upheld that this was a lawful. And I'm like, wow. And he was an ordained minister. I tell him, I feel like there's been a war waged on my mind with the spelling and the spell casting. All right, I start there. You know,
ordained minister give you a lot of privileges.
Yeah, no doubt.
With, like say you like visits with inmates, things like that. Being able to have clergy immunity.
That's it. That's it. And like, even though a clergy can't represent you, they can be there, Marcus Cure, you know, the kind of help referee to make sure everything's going according to legal and lawful manners. So like being a clergy is most definitely very powerful. But that's the same way with when you got a nationality card or anything like that. They'll be like, where'd you get this from? We're going to get you with identity fraud or whatever. My church gave me that. I'm a member of the church. You know, a church and a tribe is very similar. So it's just however you want to, whatever direction you want to go with this. You know, and then when you got your church or your tribe together, if there's no injured party, you can handle the dispute amongst your peers and your tribe. And a lot of people don't understand that. That's why I asked, do Amish people go to jail? Which court they go to? Do Jewish people go to jail? Which court they go to? A lot of people don't know these things because you're not seeing Jewish people in your jail. You're not seeing Amish people in your jail.
Right. Chinese, none of them. You don't see Chinese, Japanese, none of these people.
Yeah, that's what you really need to do. You can go study because you know the Chinese are out here in the public. And you know, one of my places in Las Vegas is in Chinatown. So go look at Chinatown. Go to a Chinatown near you, closest to you. So I know if you got small towns, you ain't got one, go to a Chinatown. They got their own banks, own restaurants, all of that. The police do not mess with them. You're absolutely correct. So
somebody put, I'm from the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is the territory of the U.S. The U.S. Virgin Islands is not the correct name of that land. That's a corporation.
Right.
And that's property of the United States corporation. Not the land. They don't own that land. So you just gotta know the difference between the land and the corporation.
Right. That's the difference right there. Another way to get out of a court case. It'd be like the state of Texas versus such and such. So can you show me a land deed for the state of Texas? Because I'm part of the republic. You follow me? There's no land deed for the state of Texas. This is just something made up out of your imagination.
Territorial jurisdiction.
You know what was Texas before it was Texas? I tell Mexicans it's Mexico. Listen, it was incorporated as Provincia de Texas into the Mexican Empire in 1821 and declared a republic in 1836. So it hasn't even been Texas that long. You follow me? You know what I mean? It was incorporated in 1821.
Sam Houston, I tell them this is not Sam Houston. Sam Houston is a colonizer.
Right, exactly.
This is not Sam Houston. What was it called before Sam Houston named it after himself?
That's it.
Stephen A. Austin. It's a lot of names like that.
That's it. You know, and then it says Villa de Bexar was one of the first settlements in 1718. So, you know, Texas was incorporated in the 1800s, but it was somebody was there before then. So that's just how you got to think. And like you said, I like how you put it, colonizing. But the reason why we bringing this up is because when you start understanding this, is because it's these corporations and these so-called colonizers, or that's what's against you. It's a business. They said, can this be used if born in D.C.? Yes. Because you wasn't really born in D.C. What's the land called?
That's what you gotta separate the land from which each state has been called. Once you separate that, you can separate the public from the private. Easy.
Right. You know, the first the real capital is Philadelphia. You know, the Moors are taught that first out the gate. They make sure we understand that D.C. is not the capital. The same way if you want to...
District of Columbia.
That's it.
Not the District of Columbia. First of all, Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. So when you're dealing with D.C., you're dealing with the Organic Act in the new United States when they formed in 1871 after the Civil War.
I found that D.C. is the ancestral home of the Nakachatonk people, also known as Anacostans. And the British colonists drove them out of their land. And then it became part of Maryland and Virginia.
That makes a lot of sense because Maryland and Virginia is Virgin Mary.
Right. Right. Boy, you've been doing some studying, boy.
I'm on the hills, man. I ain't gonna let you get all this knowledge by yourself.
You know, and then we already know that D.C. is just 12 by 12 square. That's the only power they have. But I believe that, you know, that's why they got the monument there. It's like if you understand as above, so below. It's a power source right there. You know, the sun is not the only star that's giving us energy. But people ain't ready for that, you know. I believe in the stars. You know, the stars help our path. They help illuminate our path. And that's what he said. D.C. is no different from London and isn't no different from the Vatican, from my knowledge. That's correct. That's it. I put the link in there where I got that information about the D.C. Yeah, that's what I got for y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. I hope we can do this again sometime. It felt really good chopping it up with you. I'll let you take the floor. I got you anytime, though, Antoine.
I appreciate you, brother. You've been a great asset to me, bro. Through the years, and you came out of this out of nowhere and blessing, bro, on my journeys. You know it's hard on these journeys because you know you've been through it.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt. You too. For you to, no pain, no gain. That's what I just want my people to understand. You're not going to be able to understand the light if you're scared to face your darkness. You can't appreciate joy without pain. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Go ahead. Somebody have a question?
Yeah, peace, brother Kilam. I had a quick question, man. You know, I've been following you. You know, I just started following you recently, and I saw that you was like traveling. You know, via airplane for like $11, like some crazy stuff. you mind sharing?
That's that private member info, man. But shoot, basically at the end of the day, man, you just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to discover all of that because prosperity is your birthright. Just keep studying and seeing what's for you. And I'm telling you, it's been codes and statutes that I've discovered. Like, they're really cheat codes in life, and they're set up for you, but you have to learn that everything is for you first. That's how I look at it. And I'm not saying I do everything correctly. You know, so I do disputes and all those things, too, to live free.
Islam.
Yes, sir. But much peace and love. Much peace and love.
Peace and love.
We out of here. I got shit to do today. Peace and love.